Hello there, a very good evening and welcome to another edition of Primetime News on TV1. I'm Charlotte Benedict for the Newsfirst team.
And I'm Honika Premachandra. Let's first take a look at your top stories for tonight.
Thank you for bearing the burden and strengthening the economy. President expresses his gratitude to the people while handing over houses in Colombo. Masterminds of the central bank bond scam were removed from the party. We are responsible only to the people. Opposition leader says while donating smart classrooms. Samagi Janabala Vegia and the National People's Power in a tug of war over which debate to be held first. 23-year-old allegedly assaulted by the Madhavachia police. Victim undergoes surgery at the Anuradhapura hospital. No information of an assault. Probe will be launched, says the police. Another 182,000 families granted access to Aswasuma Welfare Benefit Scheme. Muslims worldwide celebrate Eid al-Fitr.
Starting off with your top story tonight, President Ranil Wickremesinghe says that he has been successful in making the lives of the people better than what it was in the year 2022. Speaking at an event held in Colombo last evening, the President said that although the tax policies adopted for the betterment of the country had increased the cost of living of the general public, since the general public had borne that burden, government revenue has increased without obtaining any additional loans or printing money.
Today, all of us are living our lives with a little more ease. This was not the situation 2 to 3 years ago. All of us suffered without fuel, without food, no way to travel, and with no way to go to school. You suffered the most. You bore that pain and suffering, and I'm thankful to you for that. I limited several expenses of the government. The VAT had to be increased. Taxes had to be increased. You bore all of that pain. When we increased the VAT, it was a burden to many. But what we did resulted in something positive. We managed to stabilize the economy. This resulted in the rupee appreciating. The rupee to dollar exchange rate has come down to 300 rupees. The governor of the central bank said that this will further reduce to 280 rupees. Today, there is value to the rupee.
This event was held to hand over new apartments in Randia Uyana Modara to residents of Kajimavatta in Modara who lost their homes in a fire in 2010. 294 apartments with all required amenities were handed over to those who lost their homes. The President's Media Division said that steps have been taken to hand over complete ownership of the apartments to the recipients.
Some people purchased a land and waited for 70 years without a deed and with only a permit. Some people waited for 50 years. You might like to call this land your own. We have already decided to give you title to these apartments. The others will be given 5 to 10 purchase to build a small house. We will give it for 2 million rupees. That program is underway. We want to give everyone ownership. The first thing that we will give everyone is education. Secondly, ownership of land and the right to engage in business. I especially would like to thank Minister Prasanna Ranatunga and the officials of his ministry who helped organize this event. This is the change. They shout at us when Hilton was sold and when other things are sold, but the fact that you are being given these homes for free is why he is important. An election will be held in 7 months. That is just 186 days away. I would like to remind you that when Ranil Wickremesinghe contests as a non-partisan national leader, he will receive the votes of the people. Today we mainly see candidates holding debates on how the country should be run, but they should instead debate on why they didn't accept the challenge when they were invited and asked to take over the presidency. The way that they are doing the debate is wrong. Think a bit and look at how things are in Fort. Go look at Maharagama. Go look at the Badulla town. People and businessmen in every town are on the streets. People find it very easy to go with the wave. In 2015, we too followed the wave and brought one person into power and messed things up. If we go with the wave again, we will have to suffer after the 2024 election.
එනිසා රැල්ලට ගියොත් 2024 වෙන්නේ ওই රැල්ලෙන්ම පරිප්පුවක් කන්න යන එක තමයි.
Leader of the opposition Sajith Premachandra says the Samagi Janabalabega, which removed the masterminds of the central bank bond scam, has embarked on a new journey, prioritizing the 22 million people of the country instead of 225 or the president. The opposition leader made these remarks during an event held in Arachikattua, Chilao.
We chased away the ones who looted the central bank. We chased away the masterminds of the central bank bond scam. We began a new journey. I wish to emphasize one thing. Our journey will prioritize Sri Lanka. It will not prioritize the 225 or the president. It will focus on the 22 million people. By the end of this year, victory will not guarantee a comfortable life, but an arduous one. It will not be a bed of roses, but the total opposite. This victory will bring forth a culture of the country before self, country before family, country before benefits and privileges, country before comforts, and country before overseas tours. Victory will bring about such a tough life, not a bed of roses.
The 151st phase of the Smart Classrooms program was implemented in Arachikattua today. A smart classroom worth 1 million rupees was handed over to the Battuluya Mahavidyalaya in Arachikattua.
Wins the debate.
When is the Sajith Anura debate? Nalin Bandara and Nalendra Jayatissa have been appointed to coordinate the preparations on behalf of Sajith Premachandra and Andrukumara Dissanayake respectively. There is quite a lot of discourse surrounding this debate, but what exactly is happening? Newsfirst takes a look.
Nalin Bandara of the SJB, who has been appointed to coordinate the debate, in a statement yesterday said that prior to the debate of the two party leaders, there should be a debate between the economic councils of the two parties. He also said that the month of May is the best time to hold the debate. The statement added that he initially proposed this debate. In reply to the statement by Nalin Bandara, debate coordinator of the National People's Power, former MP Nalendra Jayatissa, issued a statement of his own. The former parliamentarian said that the National People's Power has no intention of avoiding an economic council debate. He added that, however, as there are only 6 months to the presidential election, the debate between the party leaders should take place first. In his statement, Nalendra Jayatissa said that if the SJB formally announces that it cannot partake in this debate, the NPP is ready to hold the debate between the economic councils of the two parties. He added that it must be reminded that it is Andrukumara Dissanayake who challenged the SJB to a debate during a television program. What does Nalin Bandara have to say? They want to avoid the debate. They are afraid of our economic council. They thought that Sajith would shy away from their challenge. They have also asked us to send a request in writing. We sent a request in writing and also released a statement. How else can we send this request? If there is a difficulty in scheduling these debates, just hold both together. We are ready to hold this debate on one channel or a few channels or a common platform. They are desperately attempting to dodge this debate. I believe it is easier to bay the dog than to get them to agree to this debate. Is the National People's Power attempting to dodge the Economic Council debate? The national organizer of the Socialist Youth Union linked to the party had this to say. We are optimistic about this discussion. There is no issue in this regard. The moment the date is announced, we will be prepared for the debate. We all know what will happen if Sajith Premachandra joins the debate. That is why they are trying to dodge it. We are ready to discuss matters as the Economic Council. However, the SJB is trying to dodge it. There are only 6 months to the presidential election. Therefore, we are ready to hold the debate between the two party leaders.
මේ අදාළ කරන සාකච්ඡාව කරන්න විවාද කරගන්න ඒ පිළිබඳ ඉදිරිපත් කිරීමට අපි කිසිසේත් ලෑස්ති.
Wins the debate.
Meanwhile, former parliamentarian Honika Premachandra said that the debate between the two leaders must be held soon.
Sajith Premadasa is the leader of the party that I am representing and he is ready. The leaders who are coming forward should present facts and show the people where the country is right now. How much is our local debt and how much is our foreign debt? With which countries can we reschedule our debt? What are the conditions that were discussed with the IMF? What did we agree to? And what did we disagree with? They must clearly speak about these matters to the people in a language that they can understand before they take over the government. Remember that the people are well aware and are looking at these political unfoldings very closely. I believe that there is a very good opportunity where we can clearly distinguish ourselves from the JVP. That is the reason why we say that this debate needs to take place soon. While a possible debate between the Samage Janabalawega and National People's Power continues to develop, the crisis that has arisen within the Sri Lanka Freedom Party has also become a major talking point in the political sphere. The two factions of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party who claim legitimacy commented on the crisis today.
Based on a request made by former President Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga, the Colombo District Court issued an enjoining order against Maithripala Sirisena last Thursday, barring him from functioning as the chairman of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. Subsequently, an announcement was made naming Nima Siripala de Silva as the acting chairman after a meeting was held, which the group led by Nima Siripala de Silva claimed was a Politburo meeting. It's noteworthy that former President Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga was present at the meeting in an observational role. However, the faction led by Maithripala Sirisena said the alleged convening of the Politburo has been done in contravention of the party constitution. Yesterday, Maithripala Sirisena's faction arrived at the party headquarters and attempted to enter the premises but were unable to do so since the other faction did not turn up at the location. Maithripala Sirisena is currently on a tour in Thailand, while representatives of both factions have been commenting on the matter to the media from time to time. Two such media briefings were held at separate locations today. A group including the organizer of the Attanagalla electorate had convened a media briefing representing Maithripala Sirisena, while a group led by the propaganda secretary of the party backing Nima Siripala de Silva was also held.
Sri Lanka Nidas Pakshe Aitiyak Thiyena
Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga, the loving daughter of the founder of the SLFP, SWRD Bandaranaike, has taken a great initiative to set this party on the right path. We wish to thank her for that decision.
අරගැනීම සඳහා පාක්ෂිකයන් වෙනුවෙන් විශේෂයෙන්ම අපි මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් චන්ද්‍රිකා මැතිණියට අපි ස්තුතිවන්ත වෙනවා.
අතනගල ආසනයේ නියෝජනය කළ මේ රට පාලනය කරපු
Chandrika Bandaranaike, who held presidency twice in this country, had joined the Politburo meeting as an observer. It is truly regrettable. She knows the truth of this matter. She should have pointed out that it was illegal and should have refrained from joining. Through her participation, it is clear that she is also attempting to stifle the progress of the SLFP and take it elsewhere.
අපි දකින්නේ එතුමියටත් ඕනේ කෙසේ හෝ කකුලෙන් ඇදලා ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂයේ මේ යන ගමන අඩාල කරලා එතුමිය බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන වෙන තැනකට මේක හේතු කරන්න.
එදා පැවැත්වපු අපේ දේශපාලන මණ්ඩලයේ
The former president Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga, who had joined the Politburo meeting, is the same person who cut a cake at the unveiling of another party.
එතුමිය තමයි මේ කේක් කපන්නේ. කේක් කපට ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂෙ මෙච්චර මේ හදන්න ආදරය කරන අපේ හිටපු නායිකාව තමයි මේ වෙන පක්ෂයක් අභිවෘද්ධිය සඳහා කටයුතු කරන්න. ඉතින් මේවා තමයි රටර මිනිස්සුන්ට කියන්න ඕනේ.
මේක අද ඊයේ ප්‍රශ්නයක් නෙවෙයි. විශේෂයෙන්ම අපි
This is not a crisis that occurred recently. We attempted to take this on the right path by advising him. However, the political deceivers he aligned himself with in the recent past led him to lose party chairmanship as well. When you Google the names of such people, it reveals the massive scams they have been involved in.
පෞගේ කාලේ එතුමාට ලං වෙලා හිටපු සමහර පුද්ගලයන්ගේ නම් Google එකේ ටයිප් කරාම එන්නේ මේ රටේ කරපු සකල විද මහා පරිමාණ හොරකම් ගැන තමයි මේ Google එකේ නම් ටයිප් කරාම.
Wins the election.
Leader of the People's Freedom Congress, Dallas Alha-Perumal, says that the new president must be appointed 176 days from the dawn of the Sinhala and Tamil New Year.
After
the dawn of the new year on the 14th of April, the Election Commission is bound by the Act to announce the date for the presidential election in 93 days. According to the law, nominations must be accepted for elections in 114 days, which is the first week of August. Nobody can stop the 9th executive president of this country being appointed in 176 days or 25 weeks after the Sinhala and Tamil New Year. A new president, a new prime minister and a new cabinet will definitely come into power in exactly 25 weeks or 176 days from the new year.
දින 176කින් නව ජනාධිපතිවරයෙක් නව අගමැතිවරයෙක් නව කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයක් පත්වීම ඒකාන්තයි නියතයක්.
When's the election?
Parliamentarian Partali Champika Ranawaka expressed his desire to contest the presidential election if a request is made to that effect. He expressed these views at an event held in Kurunag.
The presidential election must definitely be held. Basil Rajapaksa and the SLPP are making efforts to hold a general election prior to this. According to what we are hearing, the MPs are not in favour of it. The presidential candidate should be decided by the alliance. I will contest if they invite me. If there is another candidate who is more suitable and can make efforts to win the election, I will extend my support to him. When's the election?
The Citizens Movement Against Bribery, Corruption and Waste filed a complaint with the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption today, opposing the attempt to increase the security deposit of election candidates.
This deposit has been increased by about 5,200%. A citizen who is expecting to contest the election will be facing a severe injustice. The Election Commissioner has also said that it is a progressive step to increase this percentage since the expenses incurred for the elections keep increasing. According to this information accessed through an RTI, the total amount allocated for the 2024 presidential election is around 97,500 lakhs or 9,750 million. Most of these expenses can be cut down. It is mentioned here that the expenses are allocated for the duties at polling centres, observation expenses and salaries for office staff. So, if I am correct, they are paying the same staff thrice. The rights given to the people through the Constitution are being violated by attempts being made to increase the deposit amount.
When times are tough, people turn towards someone they can trust. Gumma always stands with such people.
මගේ තාත්තත් මගේ මාමත් මගේ සීයාත් යන තුන්දෙනාම ජීවිතුන් අතරින් ගිහින් තියෙන වක්වඩු අමාරුවේ හැදුලා අද අපි බයේ ඉන්නේ අපිත් මේ වෙනකොට රෝගීන්ද කියන අපි දන්නේ නැහැ.
This is a tragic story we heard from Ratmalvetiya in Galenbindunueva. These villagers for many years were suffering immensely due to the lack of clean drinking water. They had to embark on a grueling journey just to fulfill their need for water. Realizing that no one else would lend them a hand, they reached out to Guma. The villagers of Ratmalvetiya were eagerly waiting to welcome the Guma team to their village. This is the warm welcome Guma received. The Clean Drinking Water Project was implemented with the generous donations of Dr. Heleni Jayasena, Harsha Dias, Ruki Vijayaratna and Ramzeen Razak. The Sri Lanka Navy extended its technical support. Today, Gummadda relieved the worries of the adults of Ratmalvattiya and gifted one of the greatest gifts, a lifeline to the children of the village, quenching the thirst of many years. The residents of Ratmalvattiya joyfully expressed their immense gratitude to Gummadda.
News First with the people.
Eid al-Fitr, the full moon which was witnessed yesterday, lit the way for the Ramadan festival to be held today.
Ramadan means blessed month. Special prayer events were held at mosques island-wide on the occasion of Ramadan. Islam devotees consider this day as a day of equality. Devotees who fast from morning to evening for a month observe this practice according to the teachings of the Holy Quran. It is a virtuous time of self-restraint, a time to understand the hunger, pain and need of others. Religious observances on the occasion of Ramadan were held at the Colombo Grand Mosque this morning. This is the Golface Green.
Allahu Akbar. فمن يعمل مثقال ذرة خيرا يره.
Religious observances were held at the Guma Mosque in Hatton to mark Eid al-Fitr.
Allah.
Amnesty International, in its latest report, is calling on the Sri Lankan government to end its crackdown on peaceful protests. It advises the international community to urgently review cooperation with the Sri Lankan government until officers responsible for the unlawful use of force are thoroughly investigated and appropriately brought to justice.
Amnesty International, a UK-based human rights group, says that the security forces have used excessive force against protesters during 30 protests that took place in Sri Lanka between March 2022 and June 2023, and that the government has failed to investigate these abusers. The report says that it conducted 39 qualitative interviews and an open-source investigation into 95 verified videos of these 30 protests gathered on social media. The report adds that there is a pattern in the unlawful use of tear gas and water cannon and the misuse of batons by Sri Lankan law enforcement authorities, with video evidence revealing that in more than half of the protests analysed, law enforcement fell well short of abiding by international law and standards. Amnesty says that such an approach to policing public assemblies that do not comply with international standards restricts the right to freedom of peaceful assembly in Sri Lanka. The report also points out that Sri Lankan law enforcement did not take measures to prevent third parties from causing violence to peaceful protesters during the time under review through this report. It provides recommendations to the Sri Lankan law enforcement authorities, the Attorney General and the National Police Commission. It adds that it is recommended to fully implement the Torture Act No. 22 of 1994 and provide a publicly accessible breakdown of complaints related to the unlawful use of weapons during protests. The Amnesty International report also provides recommendations to the international community, urging them to press the Sri Lankan authorities to protect and facilitate the right to freedom of peaceful assembly. The international community is further advised to review their cooperation with the Sri Lankan government, including the provision of training and law enforcement equipment, until there is a thorough investigation of officers responsible for unlawful use of force and the establishment of appropriate accountability mechanisms.
Up next is the Newsfirst Finance Report.
The Newsfirst Finance Report.
CSE All-Share Price Index crosses 12,000 points. Colombo Stock Exchange's All-Share Price Index crossed the 12,000 points mark at the end of trading today for the first time since the 21st of February 2022. The stock market closed on a positive note today after its benchmark All-Share Price Index climbed 70.61 basis points, a rise of 0.59%, to close at 12,033.10. Daily turnover climbed to 2.96 billion rupees. The S&P SL20 climbed by 25.85 basis points to close at 3,572.68, an increase of 0.73%. Hambantota International Port commences container operations. In a landmark move, the Hambantota International Port commenced its inaugural container transshipment service operated by the Mediterranean Shipping Company. MVMS Ingrid made her maiden call at the Hambantota International Port on the 9th of April, discharging a total of 500 plus TEUs of transshipment containers to be connected to a second carrier, MSC Sky 11, expected to call at the port on the 16th of April. The first shipment of containers consigned to the regional multipurpose port on the east-west shipping route originated from the Rotterdam port and will reach its final destination, Dubai, via the second carrier. State Minister of Finance Shehan Semasinghe meets Regional Director for South Asia, IFC. State Minister of Finance Shehan Semasinghe met with Imaden Fakhuri, Regional Director for South Asia IFC. Taking to X, the State Minister said he had an insightful discussion with Imaden Fakhuri, Regional Director for South Asia IFC, a member of the World Bank Group. He said they discussed economic stabilization achieved and the way forward, including implementation of SOE restructuring program. South Asia expected to remain the world's fastest growing region. In its latest South Asia Development Update, the World Bank said South Asia is expected to remain the world's fastest growing region thanks to robust growth in India. It added that, however, this strong outlook is deceptive. The World Bank report said for most countries, growth is still below pre-pandemic levels and is more reliant on public spending than elsewhere. The report added that at the same time, private investment remains weak and the region is not creating enough jobs to keep pace with its rapidly increasing working-age population. The report highlighted that Sri Lanka is one of the few South Asian countries that face difficulties due to tightening global financial conditions. Sri Lanka implemented austerity measures and economic reforms with IMF support to address balance of payment issues. While Sri Lanka is part of the fastest growing emerging market and developing economies regions in 2023, its growth is expected to be slower than India and Bhutan and slower than pre-pandemic averages. The report added that this slower growth is partly due to the country's weak fiscal position and its reliance on the public sector. It stressed that Sri Lanka is also vulnerable to future currency crises if global economic conditions worsen. The report said overall, Sri Lanka faces challenges in sustaining growth and addressing development issues due to slowing global growth and its economic vulnerabilities, adding that the country needs reforms to improve its economic competitiveness and resilience. Fitch cuts its outlook on China's sovereign credit rating to negative. Fitch cut its outlook on China's sovereign credit rating to negative on Wednesday, citing risks to public finances as the economy faces increasing uncertainty in its shift to new growth models. The outlook downgrade follows a similar move by Moody's in December and comes as Beijing ratchets up efforts to spur feeble post-COVID recovery in the world's second-largest economy with fiscal and monetary support. Fitch expects China's explicit central and local government debt to rise to 61.3% of gross domestic product in 2024 from 56.1% in 2023, a clear deterioration from 38.5% in 2019. At the same time, the rating agency expects China's general government deficit, which covers infrastructure and other official fiscal activity outside the headline budget, to rise to 7.1% of GDP in 2024 from 5.8% in 2023, the highest since 8.6% in 2020, when Beijing's strict COVID curbs weighed heavily on the economy. While it lowered its ratings to negative outlook from stable, indicating a downgrade in possible over the medium term, Fitch affirmed China's issuer default rating at A positive, its third highest category.
The Newsfirst Finance Report.
State Minister of Finance Shehan Semasinghe says 182,140 more families have qualified for the Aswasuma Welfare Benefit Scheme following the consideration of appeals and objections. Now, the State Minister of Finance Shehan Semasinghe revealed that all payments, including arrears related to them, will be accounted for by the 18th of April. Shehan Semasinghe added that accordingly 1,854,000 people are recipients of the Aswasuma benefit, and an investment of 58.5 billion rupees has been made to implement this program. Moving on in more local news, an investigation has been launched into an incident where police had allegedly assaulted a 23-year-old youth in Thulaveli village in Madhavilachia.
Now, relatives of the injured youth said that following the assault of the youth underwent surgery at the Anuradhapura Teaching Hospital, where one of his testicles had to be removed.
This incident is reported from the Viral Miruppu area in Madhavachia on the 7th of April. The traffic police of the area had stopped the lorry that the youth and his friend were travelling in before the arrest took place. However, the police have started following the lorry as they failed to stop on the police order. The youth who was injured said the police officers assaulted once the lorry was stopped. The injured youth was undertaken for surgery after being admitted to the Anuradhapura Teaching Hospital. We saw that police was checking vehicles on the route from Madhavachia to Thulaveli. I overtook the vehicle thereafter. Soon after that, two policemen on motorcycles followed us from behind and stopped in front of us, blocking our vehicle. They didn't ask me anything either. They suddenly opened both the doors, pulled us out and attacked my genitals. They also attacked my back. Thereafter, I fell onto the ground, but they kept kicking me. They started attacking me after tying my hands using a belt, and thereafter started kicking me after tying me in between the seat and the dashboard. They brought us to the police station and put us behind bars. After a while, I felt sick. They admitted me to the hospital after 1 hour of informing them that I am sick. The minute I was admitted, doctors said that my condition was critical and therefore asked them to transfer me to Anuradhapura. After I was transferred, they did a scan on me immediately. It was detected from the scan that there is internal bleeding from my genitals. Thereafter, they took me in for an immediate surgery.
One of my son's testicles have been removed. Who is responsible for this? I am demanding justice for my son. Is the police even allowed to assault like this? What crime did my son commit for them to assault him like this? I request the authorities to serve justice to my son.
Police media spokesperson DIG Attorney at Law Nihal Taldua says that the police have chased the lorry for nearly 9 kilometers due to driving in defiance of orders. Police media spokesperson further said that the concerned youth and the other person were drunk and that the youth has fallen on the gear lever of the lorry while the arrest was being made. Police media spokesperson said that about 5 litres of moonshine from the lorry was also found that had been thrown away. However, the 2 police officers involved in the incident have been transferred and the Criminal Investigation Division of Kabitigol has commenced an investigation.
Up next is The World Today.
Counting underway in South Korea's parliamentary elections. Search after deadly blast at power plant in Italy. Iran's Supreme Leader Khamenei says Israel shall be punished. Israel responds. South Koreans are voting for a new parliament in what is widely seen as a mid-term referendum on President Yoon Suk-yeol's administration. Vote counting is underway as the country awaits the results of its parliamentary elections. Yoon still has 3 years left in office, but his People's Power Party has struggled to achieve its agenda in a legislature dominated by the opposition Democratic Party.
That many polls have been mixed and neither major party has achieved a strong campaigning season. Now Yoon is under pressure to address a number of issues including rising food prices, a rapidly aging population and an ongoing doctor strike.
In recent weeks he has been criticized for appearing to be out of touch with voters' inflation woes, but the opposition has also faced similar criticism.
4 people have died and several are missing following an explosion at a hydroelectric power plant in northern Italy. Now the blast occurred underwater at the plant on Lake Suiana, 70 kilometers from the city of Bologna. The affected area is located 30 meters below the surface of the lake.
The mayor of the nearby town of Camugnano told ANSA news agency that a fire was believed to have broken out during maintenance work. The fire broke out when a turbine exploded on the 8th floor below the surface, causing the floor below to become flooded. And several people are known to have suffered severe burns following the explosion, which took place at about 1500.
They were flown to nearby hospitals by helicopter. Now, according to Italian media, 2 men have been taken to an intensive care unit.
In a speech marking the end of Ramadan, Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei again took aim at Israel, saying the state must and will face retaliation for the bombing of the Iranian consulate in Damascus on the 1st of April. In a major escalation of Israel's war with regional adversaries, suspected Israeli warplanes bombed Iran's consulate in the Syrian capital on the 1st of April in a strike that killed 7 Revolutionary Guard members, including top 2 generals.
Now, in a speech marking the beginning of Eid al-Fitr, Khamenei said the evil regime made a mistake and must be punished, and it shall be. And in response, Foreign Minister Israel Katz warned that if Iran attacks Israel, it will retaliate on its territory.
Katz posted on social media platform X, "If Iran attacks from its own territory, Israel will respond and attack in Iran." US President Joe Biden has said he believes that Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is making a mistake in his handling of Gaza. He said, "I think what he's doing is a mistake. I don't agree with his approach," in an interview.
He further said that Gaza should have total access to all food and medicine for the next 6 to 8 weeks. And last week, he warned ongoing US support for the war dependent on Israel following in more food and medicine. Now, news coming in from Australia. Australia's foreign minister has suggested the country should recognize a Palestinian statehood to increase momentum towards peace. Penny Wong said, however, Hamas could have no role in its governance.
Now, both Australia's opposition and the Zionist Federation of Australia say such a move would be premature. Canberra has long said that recognition of a Palestinian nation could only come as part of a two-state solution brokered with Israel.
But Penny Wong's comments echo a speech by UK Foreign Secretary David Cameron earlier this year, in which he hinted the UK too could recognize Palestinian statehood without the support of Israel. And that's all we have for The World Today. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Hashni Pathirana.
And I'm Nithmini De Silva.
Thank you very much, Nithmini and Hashini. And with that, we wrap up Primetime News on TV1 for tonight.
Thank you for watching.
Good night.